Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast. Today we're focusing on a really interesting one, a stock right at the crossroads of, well, advanced tech, huge capital needs, and that big global push for clean energy. We're talking about Oklo. They're working on next-generation nuclear, specifically these specialized small modular reactors. And the big question we're tackling today, it sounds simple, but there are billions potentially riding on it. Is Oklo a good time to buy right now? We want to get past the headlines, look at the tech, the financials, which are surprising, and the pretty aggressive market momentum. Before we jump in, if you find this useful, please do subscribe, like the video, and comment below. Let us know what you think. And hey, if there's a specific company you want us to look at next time, definitely leave a comment. We really do look at those suggestions.
Yeah, that's crucial context because with Oklo, you have to realize this isn't your standard industrial company analysis. The whole investment story here, it's kind of disconnected from current profits. I mean, they're pre-revenue. It's all about grabbing future market share in, reliable carbon-free power. It's really a bet on that global energy transition speeding up.
Okay, so section 1. Let's talk about their unique edge, the technology, and what makes them different. When people think nuclear, it's usually those massive older plants, right? Oklo's doing something else entirely. And analysts like Barclays are calling them a high-potential, sort of leveraged way to invest in SMRs. What is it fundamentally technologically that gives them this edge?
Well, it really boils down to two key things that work together. First, they have proprietary fast fission technology. And second, and this is really key, a unique capability for nuclear fuel recycling. Closed loop.
Okay, fast fission. For those of us not nuclear physicists, what does that mean compared to the older, slower reactors? More power, more efficient.
In simple terms, yeah, speed means efficiency. And potentially scale. Traditional reactors use slowed down neutrons. Oklo's tech uses high energy or fast neutrons that lets them get significantly more energy out of the same amount of fuel. But honestly, the real economic kicker is the recycling part.
Nuclear fuel recycling. Okay, that sounds like a potential game changer. It addresses the big elephant in the room for nuclear, right? The waste.
It's potentially their biggest moat. Think about it like this. Pretty much every other nuclear operator globally pays, well, huge amounts, millions, tens of millions a year, just to deal with high-level nuclear waste. Oklo's tech could let them take that existing waste, which is a massive liability worldwide right now, and turn it into usable fuel for their own reactors. Clean fuel.
Wow. So wait, they're not just solving the waste issue. They might actually be getting their fuel cheaper. Or even, paid to take the waste.
That's the idea. Exactly. Turning a massive negative, an externality, into a low-cost input. Barclays pointed to this specifically, calling it significant potential. So it's not just about building smaller reactors. It's about changing the whole fuel cycle. That could mean long-term stable operating costs, regulatory goodwill. It's that kind of structural, decades-long advantage that, institutions might be trying to lock in now.
Okay, section 2 then. The tech sounds impressive, a real differentiator. But, as we always say, a great idea doesn't automatically mean a healthy balance sheet. Let's unpack the financials. How do the books look right now, and how is the market justifying this valuation?
Yeah, this is where you see that paradox with these high-growth development stage companies, especially in nuclear. Oklo is definitely pre-revenue, no income yet, so the books show the cost of development. Financially, yeah, the numbers reflect that. They reported a net loss of $56.8 million over the last 12 months. That translates to an earnings per share of negative 0.45 cents, and the most recent quarter, a net loss around $24 million.
Okay, hold on. So, nearly $60 million in losses annually, give or take. But the market cap is, wow, $19.74 billion. That's a huge gap. What's bridging that? What are the big investors seeing?
It comes down to, long-term confidence and some smart financial moves recently. They secured a pretty long runway with a big cash injection, $431 million from issuing stock. And they need that capital. Nuclear development is incredibly expensive. But that $19 billion valuation, the market isn't pricing current sales, obviously. It's pricing in future certainty or perceived certainty. And you actually see some of that reflected in their beta. It's only 0.71.
Right, a beta under 1 usually means lower volatility than the market average. But let's be direct. $19 billion for a company not selling anything yet? It feels like speculation, doesn't it? Is this just an all-or-nothing bet? And if it is, why isn't that risk showing up more in the beta?
Yeah. Well, it's not purely binary, I'd argue. And that low beta is actually a really interesting clue. It suggests that the big institutional money isn't treating Oklo like some volatile tech startup. They seem to be viewing it more like a long-term infrastructure play. It looks like they're buying and holding based on decades of potential revenue from, guaranteed baseload power contracts down the line. They likely see that technological moat, the fuel recycling, as already significantly reducing the long-term risk. That kind of shields the stock maybe from the day-to-day market noise that hits other high-growth, pre-revenue stocks. It's a bet on the next 30 years maybe, not the next 3 months.
Okay, that definitely reframes the financial picture. Let's pivot now. Section 3, technicals and sentiment. What are the charts telling us? If institutions are confident, is the price action backing that up?
The momentum picture is, extremely strong right now. The stock's trading around $131.79. And yes, we've seen incredible volatility, which isn't surprising for a stock with this kind of potential and maybe a relatively low float. I mean, look at the 52-week range. It goes from $9.01 all the way up to $147.18.
Wow. Okay. Over 1,500% growth from the lows. That definitely grabs attention, but it also screams risk, doesn't it? At what point does strong momentum just become, overheated hype?
Technically, you look for signs of support like the moving averages, and right now those indicators are pretty bullish. The stock is trading way above both key averages. The 50-day simple moving average is down around $88.51. The 200-day SMA is even lower, about $50.80. That big gap suggests the uptrend is pretty robust for now, not just a quick spike, so near term. Based on those patterns, it looks like the stock might be setting up to test resistance again, maybe between $140 and $150. There seems to be decent support building around that $120 to $125 level.
And what's been lighting the fire recently? Just technical buying, or was there actual news driving this?
It looks like a combination, really. Real progress meeting analyst approval. You've got 12 analysts now with a consensus buy rating. That shows pretty broad institutional backing. And crucially, there was that big jump on October 6, 2025, up over 13% in a day. That came right after some positive analyst coverage. Wedbush put out a good note, I believe, and importantly, news of the groundbreaking ceremony for their first fast fission plant.
Right, so investors seeing actual dirt being moved, theory turning into reality.
Exactly. And what's quite interesting is this bullishness is happening even while the broader market is nervous. The Fear and Greed Index is currently showing fear, around 39. So Oklo seems to be moving on its own story, its own catalyst. That makes it kind of a compelling contrarian idea right now.
Okay, section 4. Looking ahead, what are the key catalysts or pressure points investors need to watch over the next, say, 3 to 6 months?
Well, the most immediate big one is the next earnings report. It's scheduled for November 13th, 2025. Now, obviously, since they're pre-revenue, it's not about the profit numbers. It's all about the updates. Investors will be listening very closely for any news on regulatory progress with the NRC, hitting key technology development milestones, and crucially, any hints of movement on actual customer agreements. The commentary is key. Beyond the earnings call, you'll want to watch for ongoing news from that plant construction site. Any milestones hit there will be positive.
And I hear there's quite a bit of buzz, maybe rumors about potential partnerships, things that could really move the needle.
That's right. There's definitely speculative chatter. The market seems to be anticipating some kind of major validation event. The main rumors center on 2 possibilities. 1, announcing a big partnership with a major established U.S. utility. Getting one of them signed on would be huge. Or 2, landing a significant federal contract, maybe Department of Energy, maybe something defense-related for energy supply. Either of those would drastically reduce that perceived long-term risk.
Okay, so lots of potential upside catalysts. But given the excitement, the pre-revenue status, we absolutely have to talk about the risks. What are the big hurdles here that could derail this whole story and that, frankly, $19 billion valuation?
Oh, the risks are definitely significant. And they're inherent in this kind of cutting-edge nuclear development. First and foremost, regulatory risk. Nuclear is heavily regulated. Any delays in getting licenses or safety approvals from the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the NRC, can push timelines back years. That means huge cost overruns, which hits cash flow and, investor confidence hard. Second, there's technology risk. It's still a developing technology, remember. Proprietary tech. If they hit technical snags, need different materials, or if testing doesn't go as planned, well, that could mean costly redesigns or delays. And finally, capital intensity and dilution. We mentioned the $431 million they just raised. That's a lot, but building nuclear plants costs billions continuously. They have cash now, but they will almost certainly need more substantial investment down the road. That means future funding rounds are likely.
And those future rounds bring that risk of dilution for existing shareholders, right? Since they just did a big stock issuance, it seems like they're okay with using that route. How worried should investors be about getting diluted further down the line?
It's definitely something to factor in. You have to assume that as they scale up, build more plants, which will cost billions more, they'll probably tap the capital markets again. If they raise another big chunk of change in, say, 18 or 24 months, yes, that will dilute current shareholders. So as an investor, you have to weigh that potential dilution cost against the, well, explosive upside if they successfully commercialize this unique technology. It's sort of the price of admission for potentially capturing that long-term growth.
All right, let's wrap this up. Final thoughts.
So yeah, connecting all the dots here. The overall investment case, it does look strongly bullish right now. That's why we'd rate the current opportunity, maybe an 8 out of 10. Oklo is a very specific, kind of aggressive way to play two massive trends. That global shift to clean energy and the need for advanced, maybe more decentralized nuclear power. It seems potentially attractive for shorter-term traders trying to play these upcoming catalysts, sure. But the real story, I think, is for the long-term investor, someone looking to capture that whole structural shift towards advanced nuclear over the next decade or more.
So what does this all mean for you, the investor, thinking about Oklo? Well, that huge multi-billion-dollar opportunity really hinges on one thing: successfully moving from where they are now developing tech, burning cash, hitting milestones, to actual commercial deployment. Generating real revenue, that's the make-or-break transition. And right now, the market seems to be pricing that transition almost like it's a sure thing. So the final thought maybe is this: how will the market truly react when Oklo, potentially as a first mover with this fuel recycling tech, officially starts selling power, generating stable, recurring revenue, actively competing with traditional power companies? The moment they flip from being just a tech developer to a commercial energy provider, that $19 billion valuation is going to look either spot on or maybe even incredibly cheap or possibly way too high. Watching that transition point, that's the real game changer here.